It's okay doing all these advanced grafting techniques and showing you how easy it is, but sometimes do you worry that you never actually get to see the result? Do you never get to see whether or not it's actually failed? Well, don't worry, you're going to see the results from a thread graft in 2024 somewhere during this video. Won't tell you where, because otherwise you'll switch straight to it.
I wouldn't do that.
But also, you know I'm going to be doing a thread graft on this Trident Maple, this disgusting larch, absolute goodness knows what I'll do with this, and potentially this hornbeam, and indeed potentially even this horrible ugly Trident Maple. That's going to be 4 thread grafts. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. You're going to see me do it once, and then I'm going to show you what I've done with the others, and then we're also going to get the results from 2024. That interests you? Keep watching. Hi, it's Xavier. Welcome to Bonsai Retreat thread grafts. If you're thinking about them, now is the time to do it. Now, when those buds are still absolutely minutely small, because we want them as small as possible. We don't want them opening up because we're going to be ramming them through the trunk of a tree. Smaller they are, the more chance that we're not going to knock them off and ruin the whole thing. So if you're thinking, I need a branch somewhere on a tree and I've got a lovely big whip that I can use, now is the time. Don't let those buds open up. So what am I going to need to do these thread grafts? I am so glad you asked. Well, first of all, you need a tree that is definitely missing a branch in a location that you want it. You also need some form of material that you can use for the graft, and in this case, something that we can put straight through the trunk that can then become our new branch wherever it is that we position it. But I hear you ask, I haven't got one of these. What could I use instead? Funny, if you didn't know the answer to that, we'll have a look in the 2024 video, because what I did then is I used one of these, which was one of my cuttings. That's a 3 or 4 year old cutting now. So you've got your whip, you've got your tree. What else? Well, you need one of these. You need a drill. You want it on drill, not hammer mode. Hammers for bricks, not for tree trunks. There's a lot of debate about whether you go fast, slow, put it in hard, so to speak. Well, do you know what? I've done both, and both have been effective. So I tend to go with a sort of 7 or 8 on my adjustable drill, and it doesn't have to be a big heavy thing like this. Maybe you've got a little one that you've got in your pocket, so to speak. So you need a drill, and you need a screwy bit that goes through that is going to be just bigger than the part that you're going to thread to. More of that in a minute. But you're also going to need some nice wooden toothpicks or cocktail sticks. For those of you who don't know what I'm holding up, these little small things here. My gosh, it's about to rain. And these are used to jam in the hole so you get a nice snug fit. But again, more of that in a minute. And finally, we've drilled our hole. We've threaded our branch or whatever through, and this is the lapse that I'm going to be using. Very, very interesting this. Very, very one-sided, so I need some branches over this side. And thankfully, I've got all these long whips, which I'm going to be able to bend around and use. But again, you're going to see that in a minute. But what else do I need? I hear you ask loudly. Well, I'll jam a toothpick in. More of that in a minute. But I need to keep it in place, and I need to seal it to make sure we don't get any nasty bacteria getting in there. So we want to seal either side of our hole. Well, guess what we use for that? We use some good old-fashioned cut paste putty or whatever. And in this case, I'm using the stuff that Adam of Notion Bonsai so generously sent to me last year. Thanks very much, Adam. And if you want to see more of Adam's products, have a look in the description, because I've got a link to his website. He's selling loads of stuff these days. Good to see. So we've got everything we need, and we've got our tree. Now I've actually spent a good probably 2 or 3 hours over the last year staring at this, trying to work out where exactly I want to put this thread graft. And it's not as easy as you think, because if we just give it a little swizzle around, we've got this very, very gentle curve, which means, as usual, we try to avoid having branches go on the inside of a bend, but we also need to look at where the roots are and also where the main direction of the branches are, and when I say that, in what plane they're in. If I'm going to put this anywhere, then it's going to be going that way, but that would be right about here. So spinning it, I know we could say that potentially this branch here, maybe that one would go. But overall, looking at what I do with this, I quite like this as a front. We've got a lot of stuff here, but do you notice here straight away? So if you look down the front this way, coming towards us, this branch here, which is quite an important branch for any design, has got a similar fault to one that I did a thread graft on in 24. We might need to remove a root here. This ends up coming towards us, but although we've got 1, 2, 3 coming from this point here, I see a front potentially there. The problem is actually we've got this one here and very, very close proximity, and in a similar line we've got this one and this one. But if you notice, rather than this going out that way, it's actually coming back in on itself, and we've got this big bend, and it actually comes in and around, and it's really, there's nothing here at all. If I had a bud here, then I could do something with it, but everything goes on all the way down until we get to this stuff here. I could wire it, but that bend is very, very ugly. I don't like it. And again, if you look at this from here, it's coming out the side and going at 90 degrees to the direction it should. It should actually be coming straight out towards you there, and it just doesn't look right as a branch. So we either need to remove it, take this all the way around and thread graft this, or put it in a direction so it's actually coming out more this way, which will give this more of a 3D look. So first of all, I need to remove that, and that, by the way, will make a great little cutting. I'll just poke it in soil. I found a particular drill bit. Bear in mind that I'll be taking this one, and I look at it, what I want to do is bring this around and in that way, so it comes out at this angle here. So I need a drill bit that isn't too much bigger than that, which is that drill bit. Because I know that I want it to come out from here, this is the place that I need to go in at, because I'm going to get the explosion out at the back end.
Donna Noble, Health and Safety.
And of course, all the usual PPE. Because I'm using a drill, I need to make sure I have my ear defenders or something in my ears. I need to have something on my eyes so that I don't get bits and pieces of wood flicking in there. All that good stuff. Thankfully, I've got my very expensive glasses on, so if anything does flick in, it'll chip the glass. I need to buy some more glasses. Looks good to me. So there's the hole that's going to be coming out. I will clean that up with a knife. So there's the exit wound, which is going to be the entry, or the entry which is going to be the exit, one of the two. And you see what I mean about how much that blows out there. You can see there we've got quite a lot of blowout there. Although again, not as bad actually, to be honest. Okay, so I've got that all cleaned up, ready to thread my whip through. Just need to make sure again that I've got my head right and I'm actually poking it. I want it to come out there, which means I'll be pushing it in through this hole here and trying to avoid knocking those buds. Now bear in mind the drill bit will be to the thickness of the buds. That should be relatively easy and we'll just go until it stops, so to speak. So you notice I've also put some wire on here, and the reason that is that once I've actually put this through, I may well want to put some movement. So we'll carefully take it around. We'll just start threading it through. Here we go. And ideally we're going to get a horizontal set of buds. There we go. And as we get closer, it's going to get thicker. So we've now threaded that through where we want it. Need a little chopstick. And the reason for the chopstick is to actually jam up in that hole there. So thinking about where I want the actual, there we go. just enough to stop that moving and keep one of the surfaces up to the top. Now you'll notice that I didn't actually remove any of the cambium. In 2024 I tried one with cambium and one without cambium, and you're probably guessing already that because I'm not taking the cambium off this, that might have been an indication of why one of them didn't succeed. I know that a lot of people do it with the cambium, remove a bit of cambium, put it to the upper side, and that allows for a good fusion. But I've certainly discovered, as you'll see, that that doesn't actually seem to matter too much. Once those things start expanding, it does the job for it. So using my cutters, I'm just going to cut that flush. Then just a little bit of cut paste. What we're trying to do is seal the potential site so that what we don't get is air and yucky bits going in. I'll do that as well on the other side. There we go. So that's that one in place. Bit of wire there is obviously one, so that I can keep the direction that I want on the buds on this main branch. So eventually this will be cut. This one here, I would imagine, is going to be removed at some point. I was looking again to see whether or not potentially there could be a front in there. But ultimately, I think we're going to go there, somewhere around there, I think. Again, I'll poke down a bit of dirt and then take that right back down to there. Then if we're going to be having the front in here, we've got all this coming along, which we don't really want, so we will get rid of okay, just a bit of cut paste on that wound, and again up there. So looking there, a little bit of wire to give directional there. That could still disappear, but I quite like having that up there, and this could also get a bit shorter. You see the front somewhere around there at the moment. Okay, well there you go. Thread graft's there. It's actually going to be coming slightly to the front, giving us something on this side that we didn't have before. We've got some interesting movement going up and around and up, and then we're going to have this coming off this way, and then we've got here, this is all set up to be a back branch, and this, I have a feeling, we certainly don't want that bit there. And in fact there's a little bud up there. I'm actually going to take that away. We've got a little bud there and something underneath. And in terms of this length, I'm going to let the whole lot go. I want as many of these buds to shoot off. The more buds that are budding, so to speak, the more growth we're going to get through this this branch. And the first thing I'm looking for is any sign of thickening there, like you saw on Alex's Japanese Larch. So that'll get left. We'll get it well fertilized and see how it goes. But that's the thread graft done for the Trident Maple. Going to do the other three and then just quickly show you afterwards what they look like. Do you know what? No, I think I know exactly what we're going to do. Obviously I've just finished doing this, and right now I'm going to give a big shout out to Ben W, because he actually gave me a really good idea in the video before, and in essence what he suggested is that I actually air layer just about here. So if the thread graft doesn't work down here and I can't make it look any good, I'm going to say thanks very much Ben W, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But if you want to see if that happens, you're obviously going to see if this thread graft works first. Anyway, I love getting suggestions, and trust me, I do listen. So I did say that I was going to do 2 or 3 more. Do you know what? Time is rolling on. I reckon we're close to 28 minutes on this video, so tell you what, let's cut straight across, find out quickly what happened with the 24 thread graft. Did it work? Didn't it work? Well, we'll find out in a minute. And as for those other 3 trees, well, I've actually got some other plans for those, but you're going to have to watch certainly a Japanese larch forest video to see what happened to the larch, and when I get to my Trident Maples, you get to see what I decided to do with that as well. Anyway, let's go and have a find out and see just how successful I was in 2024. Well, it's the 15th of February, and I'm just about to do my second thread graft. Overall, though, when you look at it from the front there, it looks okay. And yeah, you can say, okay, just keep it as a front. But I just don't like this here. So I'm going to whack my, my next thread graft using probably this one and whack it right through there. So we'll get rid of that right now. It's gone. I might just put that in some soil, but I'm really not that bothered by it. I liked where the existing branch was on that. So there's our branch. And this one, I know last time I actually scraped the cambium. This one I'm not going to. It's got a nice firm fit in there. Right, so that's it. Two buds a lot closer in. I've also got these ones out here and lots of healthy buds further out here. What we're looking for is more juices and stuff to flow through there, thicken the branch, and then we get some fusion of the cambiums. A little bit of wire on just to give it a shape so that the buds that I want are going to come out in the directions that I want. I'm going to come back to this probably in another week or two maybe. Well, here we are. It's 25th of April and I'm pleased to announce that, as you can see here, there's the thread graft itself. The cutting itself is still living quite happily, but more to the point, we've got loads of growth on the actual thread graft that I actually want. That's the bit that I want, and what we're looking for now is these points here to swell. And do you know what? If this continues to shoot out and grow, I have no doubt that that will have swelled sufficiently enough that I'll be able to do a separation. Probably do the separation next year. Well, 30th of May, and I thought we'd better have a look and see how this thread graft's looking on. 3, 2, 1. Yep, absolute failure. All died off. Checking this close in, not green. So what do? Pull it away and go, hey, I failed on this one. Okay, well, we've had the joy of seeing the one that didn't work, which might suggest that this one is still very, very green and very, very promising. Even as I look at it, it looks a lot more solid against the trunk itself, which means we're going to start seeing some thickening. I mean, it's certainly not swelling, but even I could see there, it's actually got quite a solid hold in there. I'm not sure how well we can see here, but even there, it looks a lot more solid than the one we just saw. So, yeah, very, 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 very happy with that. This, I let it go, I let it continue to grow, I will feed it, and yeah, I'm really, really confident that I may even be in a position to separate it by the end of the year. Well, would you believe it? It's now the 22nd of July. It's been quite a while since you've last seen this. I have to say, having seen the fact that if we look at shoots here and here, that's what I expect to see from the thread graft. Now, the leaves aren't dying or anything like that, which means the actual integrity of the branch is fine, but for whatever reason, it's not shooting out from the central core where I would normally expect to get the extensions and the growth. Now, with a thread graft, the only way it's going to work is if I get those extensions, because I need the actual threaded part to expand, to swell, to get bigger, and the only way it does that is if we've got more leaf mass to be feeding. If I take the growing tip out, will that potentially encourage some healthy stuff on this branch to send out some new buds? So that's what I'm going to do, and try and force this this Trident Maple thread graft to actually do what I want it to do before it gets winter. But I'm going to remove a few leaves. Hopefully that will tell it that I need budding, and find an appropriate space or place like here. And as I say, we take away some leaves, cut it back, and see if that promotes some sort of budding from further here, because I'm not happy. Well, here we are, it's November. All the leaves have pretty well dropped off, and I can see what's going on there. And truthfully, there hasn't been a great deal of change from what you saw probably 6 weeks ago. There's definitely some bonding there, nothing to show. But what I thought I will do is show you what really, if you've had a great thread graft after sort of 4 months, what you can expect. Because my great mate Alex Braunton, you've all seen some of the stuff I've done and seen in his garden, and he did a thread graft on Japanese larch, which apparently is notoriously difficult. Rather than me blabbing, let's go and have a look and see what was going on in Alex's garden only a couple of weeks ago. So what should you be seeing with a successful thread graft? Well, I had to come over to Alex Braunton's garden for that, and he did a thread graft on a larch, Japanese larch, the same time I did on my Trident Maple. And this is what you would expect to see. The branch has been taken from up here, brought round, wired, and the thread graft has actually gone in just there. Now that's been in for 6 months maybe. Have a look at the thickness there in comparison to the thickness on the other side. You've also there got that swelling, which is what you'd expect to see, to say, do you know what? In fact, I might tell him, I say, Alex, you can separate that now and cut that free. I want to break free! Because you've now got a perfectly grafted branch for this Japanese larch. And I can safely say that I'm just a wee bit jealous. But what it does mean is that I have a load of larches that need branches in key places. I now know as a result of this that it's safe to do it on Japanese larch. So, big thumbs up to Alex Braunton and his Japanese larch thread graft. Well done, Alex. Well, as you can guess, I was absolutely blown away by that. And if you look here, I mean, I've got no swelling, that's the same size as that. So what's my options? Well, simple. We'll wait till the new year. So we'll see this again probably in the spring. Well, here we are, it's the 24th of February now, 2025, and this probably counts as the first day of the new year where I'm actually going to do anything positive in a bonsai fashion. And you'll know that because, well, I've already done it, I should think. Anyway, let's have a look. There's no difference in terms of how that's looking. I think the main thing I was worried about was, is the cutting still alive? Because I left it over the winter period, and I actually left it in the cold frame, but both the tree and the cuttings are looking fine. It's getting close to see why I'm quite optimistic that given another 3 or 4 months, this one will actually work. Again, if we're looking close there, we've got a firm seal there. It's not fidgeting about. We've got some closure that's happened there in terms of callousing and swelling up around there, so the tree's trying to heal on that. And on that side again, certainly it's a nice tight fit. So why am I so confident? Well, let's have a look further up here. We've got opening buds here, here and here. These are the ones that I'm really going to be hopeful about, because that sort of length there isn't too bad. It would be nice to get something further back. So I'm going to let these flush. As a result of those flushing, this will thicken, and that will hopefully cause the collar that you saw on Alex Braunton's larch to develop there, making it possible for me later in the year to separate there and finally do something decent with these cuttings. So that's 2 thread grafts done. You've seen the main one, which I did and demonstrated properly on a Trident Maple. You've also seen the results from the 2024 thread graft. Obviously the first one is a YouTube short showing that it didn't work, and I do think that's because I took just too much of the cambium off. I think maybe on a larger tree with a larger specimen shoot may be different, because I know certainly if you remove the cambium it is supposed to work, and that's how it generally is shown. The one that didn't have the cambium removed is still very, very viable, and you know what? I think we're going to see some good results from that later on in the year, and I'll be the first to shout out loudly when that works out. Now I know we looked at some lovely trees in Alex Braunton's garden. His garden is a hidden bonsai gem, and I did 2 of the funniest interview walkarounds with Alex last year, and do you know what? If you want a bit of a chuckle and to see some fantastic maples and junipers, loads and loads of development stuff, then that's the one you're definitely going to have to laugh your way to watching. Apart from that, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.